Yeah, I can't see you at all.
Oh,
It
we
says.
live. You can't see me now. I gotta bring you on. You'll be able to see me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So just chill, just sit and chill.
Oh, yeah. I'm
All right,
finna.
y'all. I hope everybody can see me, hear me. I hope you had a good day today. I don't know how long this is gonna be or how it's gonna go, but we praying that we gonna be cordial, and we absolutely invite your questions tonight. So please, ma'am, please, sir. And we absolutely invite you. Please, man, please, sir. Y'all get on here, invite some friends, family that need to see this. It's gonna get interesting tonight. It's gonna get interesting. I don't need this blue screen behind me. I should have worked this out before I came. Before Rob came over here.
Duh.
Oh man, I ain't doing no tripping. I have it be it be. That
Hey,
yeah, that background is crazy. Let's see.
duh.
Yeah, let's do it this way. Let's bring Rob on here. Hold on. Left of me. There we go. There we go.
Hey,
Ladies and gentlemen.
I,
Rob, I don't know if you can hear this music.
I can't, big bro. I
Oh, that's
can't.
fine. We won't play the music today.
But I
Ladies
can't.
and gentlemen, what is going on? I am DK Hammond, servant leader and connecting people to their destiny. And today, I have one of the Jules kids. We've had this conversation before about um, what it is to be in the Black Divine Nine community and its impact. And Rob hit me up today and said that we need to come back and revisit said conversation. And so,
Yeah,
without further ado, I want my brother to introduce himself. Brother Rob, how you feeling, man?
big bro, I still can't see you on my screen, but it's all good.
Oh,
I
I can
got my.
see you though.
Yeah, but I can't see you,
I
man. So
wonder why.
I had to pull up my phone. Maybe it's something on my end.
It
I
might be
don't
on
know.
mine.
I don't
It
know.
may be on mine, bro. Don't.
I'm not even tripping. I'm not even tripping. As long as I can hear you, we good.
Yeah,
Um,
you should be fine.
yeah, we good. So for those who don't know who I am, my name is Robert Balawet. I am a spring 2007 initiate of the Pi Psi chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We're
Indeed.
gonna keep it. Yeah, we're gonna keep it PG-13. I have spent probably over the last decade, well, over 10 years of my life has been dedicated to working with fraternities and sororities across the country, various capacities. Even outside of being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, I've done extensive work with our multicultural Greek councils, our Panhellenic councils, and our interfraternity council. IFC, let me give you a little definition. IFC are essentially the white fraternities. Panhellenic are the historically white sororities, and our multicultural Greek council houses the different organizations that represent like Asian Pacific Islanders, our Latino organizations, and so on and so forth. So I'm not having this conversation from a place of not having extensive knowledge and experience with working with diverse groups of fraternities and sororities across the country. So that is my introduction. That's all I got, big bro.
Thank
Where
you,
you
brother Rob. Again, y'all don't know who I am. DK Hammond, servant leader, connect people to their destiny. I'm a proud member of Fort Worth's favorite frat, the
uh
only
oh.
frat that matters in
Uh
Fort
oh.
Worth.
Uh oh.
Beta Tau Lambda, Fall 19,
Hmm.
and that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. And
All you-
I've served in various capacities, whether it be in web development for the chapter or whether it been for the last 2 to 4 years, I have been serving as chaplain
hmm.
of Beta Tau Lambda. So it's a very interesting question and has the right people to have. So if you got anybody that you know that needs to be a part of this conversation, I got some room just in case some of the elder statesmen want to come in from any Divine Nine organization.
And tell
We'll
them,
we'll bring you right on so you can chop it up with us. Just hit me on the inbox if you can. Make sure your background is clean because people gonna see your stuff, and I would hate for them to say how nasty your house is. Praise the Lord. But this has always been a conversation. If y'all didn't know, me and Rob had this conversation before. Kind of had some synergy on YouTube, especially when I started reposting the clips on YouTube. And it probably has the most views on my YouTube page. And so it warrants a more deeper conversation that I think people would be willing to have. Now I want to make sure we preference this. This is not a knock to anybody who's made a decision and wanted to step away from his or her supportive organization. We still love y'all. That ain't no hate. This is going to be directed to individuals who have made it their business to shine a negative light on something that isn't negative. And so our job is to kind of give you some insight, not give you everything. Because if you
mm,
want it, visit somebody's website. The information is there. You can read it. You can go there. And so we want to be able to do that and have a meaningful conversation that between two brothers. And hopefully you guys will be blessed by it. And hopefully you guys can use this in other conversations that you may have. Now, if you have anybody again that needs to see this, please share this with your community actively so we can make sure we get that. We currently have 7 viewers. I would love for us to have 20 viewers. That would be
mm,
really dope for us to do. For us to do that, and please engage in the chat. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your sorority, fraternity, whether it be Divine Nine or Panhellenic, whatever you want to be. We want to be able to support you and shout you out as well. So let's get started tonight, y'all. Tonight, y'all already seen kind of the flyer. We put it out. Well, I put it out. Rob put it out, just to kind of give you a teaser of what we would plan on talking about. Now, I know for certain y'all didn't think that he and I were both gonna get on here and denounce like some of you other people have chosen to do, and that's your right that you choose to do that. That just won't be happening. We will have a again active conversation
yeah,
about this. So I think what we want to start is let's consider some of our Christian counterparts and how they are treating those of us who have made a choice to be a part of a Divine Nine community. Now, Divine Nine don't mean nothing special other than these are the 9 organizations that got together to form this unit to help people. I can't say that no better than that. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, right? And
yeah,
so, especially think about this, y'all. I want to make sure I give this too. If you have a collective body of men and women, various color differences, that can easily talk to the president, you
mm,
have something that has power and synergy. Now, there are some people a part of your life who can't even call a congressman and they answer the phone.
mm,
But non-organization leaders can go and speak actively to a president, a vice president, and even local officials at any given moment. So I want to make sure we preference that. This is usually a community based organizations. Each one of them that's a part of it,
mm,
right? Whether it be IOTA, whether it be Alpha, each one that's a part of it has a community focus. Probably more community focused than anything,
my,
right? And so I want to
mm,
make sure we clarify that too. So, Brother Rob, pick up any one of those and man, let's just go for it. Shout out to Tyler Haywood. Shout out to
oh
Valerie T. Webb. Hey
yeah.
sis, good to see you. I see the comments, I see the chats. I'm gonna be shouting y'all out. And if y'all got questions, we'll throw them on the screen to talk about too. Go for it, bro.
Man, so I really, before I start talking, want to say this is in no shape, form, or fashion, again, to what you said, big bro, to tear down anyone who
No.
has the plans on denouncing, or anybody who has made the decision that
Yeah.
for them being a part of a fraternal organization is just not for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Um, I really want to talk to some of the ignorance to a
Mm,
certain degree. And the word ignorance is not a bad term, it just means that you don't know. And there are a lot of people who are not in the circle of
mhm,
fraternities and sororities who have a lot of things to say concerning fraternities and sororities
mhm, mhm.
because somebody told them a story,
Yeah,
because they watch School Days and they
Lord
feel like
Jesus.
that was the summation of what what Greek life is. And I'm sorry that you only have parts of a story. I'm sorry that you haven't had an experience yourself so you could understand why brothers like myself and my big brother DK
Mhm,
have pride and passion behind our organizations.
mhm.
So I just wanted to start there because I'm not trying to tear anybody down. I
Yeah,
really want to build people up in the realm of knowledge concerning fraternities and sororities to a certain degree.
sure.
Because as you stated, DK, I'm just here to enlighten you, but I can't give you all of the
No, no,
um
and if you guys want again more information, please go to the websites that's available. Most of this stuff is available on these websites. You can go to alpha phi alpha 1906.net. You can go to omega psi phi. You can go to delta sigma theta. These things are available for your reading pleasure.
for sure.
So, and if you want to go to Kappa Sig, there's information available on their website for that. This stuff is available if you're truly trying to be a student of communities that are college based. So let's nullify. And I love what you said, bro, when you talked about ignorance. And I would like to add a caveat to that, that the absence of knowledge produces ignorance.
Hmm.
The absence of
Right.
knowledge produces ignorance. So, if somebody is not trying to produce or show you where the knowledge is, they want to remain and keep you ignorant, which
Mm-hmm.
speaks to some of your people that you like to follow that don't know nothing about nothing. And all they see is what they see. But continue, good brother, because I got some heat for us all.
I already know. So let's start with people denouncing.
Sure.
Okay. This is not the first time we've experienced a wave of people who have joined fraternal organizations, specifically in the D9, who are denouncing.
Sure.
Okay. Many of the posts that I take the time out to read concerning denouncing have to do with a spiritual and relational conviction when it comes to being a Christian,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So, and again, I respect your decision to denounce. What I have an issue with is that when you denounce, it's almost like you condemn the rest of us because we're staying.
Mhm.
And because you have been convicted, whatever your own personal convictions are, now you feel like there's a need to turn around and come save me. But what I need you to understand, I don't need saving. Whatever decisions that you felt like were best for you to make regarding your spirituality and your fraternity or your sorority, that's between you and God. But
Yep.
when we turn around and we start throwing scripture at it, and again, we try to turn around and condemn everybody else who are good in their own spiritual convictions and have a solid relationship with their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ,
Yep.
it's just kind of like you're spinning your wheels here. Because here's the question that I have, DK.
Yeah.
How was your relationship with the Lord before you joined? Because if you're telling me that the fraternity or the sorority drew you away from God, to me, I don't see how that is an adequate reason or statement.
Yeah.
Because you made a conscious decision to join, and now you're saying, well, now that I've joined, this right here is pulling me away from my relationship with God. Again, what was the status of your relationship before you joined? I tell students this all the time. Before I'm talking about students who are non-affiliated,
Yeah.
students who have not joined.
Yeah.
Before you decide what organization you want to be in, you need to decide what type of person you want to be.
Correct.
You need to know who you are before you come to an interest meeting,
Yeah.
because Alpha Phi Alpha doesn't make men. Now, we are the school for the
For the
better
better making of men.
making of men.
Yeah.
We just want to build upon who you already are.
That's
We are
right.
not giving you something that you don't already have. We just
That's
want to
right.
help sharpen the individual that you are,
Yes.
right? But you are who you are before you come and talk to us.
You are. And Rob, to that point, man, a couple of things. We have great comments. Do us a huge favor. Share this with your community that needs to hear and have a conversation. If this conversation is riveting for you, please do that. Also, if you want to see more of stuff like this, me and Rob are probably more. Rob has 20 plus years in the game. I feel with Alpha. I'm a young guy in the game, but I have experience in other areas and other organizations that equally give me a better viewpoint. We have questions that are coming in the chat. Please keep those coming. We're gonna throw them on the screen. But I want to lift this up because in the book of Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 10,
Oh.
I'm getting right to that Bible book. Because see, y'all think that because we are part of a Divine Nine organization, that the Bible does not govern our lives. Let me repeat this to you. This is the source and centrality of much of the Divine Nine and what they speak on and who they are. I'm gonna say it again. This is the source of much of who the Divine Nine is and what you would speak of. Now, this does not mean that you're not gonna have bad apples in the bunch. Every place has bad apples. Every job has a bad apple. Every church has a bad apple. And I'm glad that I said that because 1 Corinthians verse 10, Paul talks about divisions in the church. And he looks at it like this: I appeal to you, dear brothers and sisters, by the authority of the Lord Jesus Christ, to live in harmony with each other. Let there be no division in the church, rather be of one mind, united in thought and purpose. For some members of Chloe's household have told me about your quarrels, my dear brothers and sisters, and some are saying, I'm a follower of Paul. Others are saying, I'm a follower of Apollos,
Hmm?
or I follow Peter, or I only follow Christ. So the division here talks about the leadership in the church and how some people like to follow men, women, and various leaders in their community. And
Hmm?
in following those people in those community, if you follow 5 or 6 of them, it's going to create a division line in
Yep.
your fellowship. But if you have one and you on one mind, one accord as a believer, then you can go in one direction as a believer and win,
Hmm.
right? And so, what I want you to think about when you're thinking about communities like, and I'm gonna say communities. I think we don't say that enough as it relates to Divine Nine. We
Hmm.
are we are just communities who
Hmm.
come together, who do have colors because every African American I know loves a good color scheme.
Hmm.
We have colors. We have all of these things that help us bring about, watch this, unity.
Hmm.
Now, the church has leadership problems, and y'all are worried about the people outside of the church. So let's make sure we get some things really in order because the
Wow.
house of God is not a perfect place for worship. You have seen various leaders had to have a seat the last 2 weeks, and they wasn't a part of a Divine Nine group. Some of them were a part of evangelical spaces in which
My.
some of you occupied their theological thoughts. And to that I say, you're always welcome to come back home where we follow Christ.
Mm.
This is a community centered in the centrality of Christ, and that's what we
Mm.
follow. And watch this, y'all. There are some brothers in our bond that are not believers,
Yeah.
and they still can be a part of the organization, a part of the community. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't void them from being a part of the community, right? So, Rob, we had a couple of questions, man. I want to get to them. I'm gonna get your thoughts. So, this one young lady, her name's Erica Nelson. I don't know if you can
Mm-hmm.
see this across the screen, but I'm gonna put this right there. Erica says, "Eager to hear your thoughts on it being demonic covenant and idol worship." Rob, would you like to go first? I just wanted to
Well,
set the
first,
stage. I want to set the stage.
first of all, let me say, my journey into Alpha Phi Alpha, I did not have to kneel down and pledge allegiance to any idol or any demonic representative or anything like that. And again, without giving away too much, as DK has said, our organization, Alpha Phi Alpha, and many of the other organizations have a Christ centered
Yes,
um, service like mission.
yes,
Again, if you read through our ritual, God is up and through there,
yeah,
Jesus is up and through there.
yeah,
So, no, we do not worship idols. I love when people talk about, well, y'all worship Greek gods. Let me pause and put a pin right here.
yeah.
The only thing Greek about us are our letters. I mean, that's it.
That's it.
And really, if you were on the other side looking in, especially with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, our roots run deep within African culture and symbolism.
Yes.
So, no, Erica, who is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated,
Please make sure
you
you
and
get
I
that
both know
right.
you and I both know that we don't worship idols and there's
No.
nothing demonic about what we do. Period.
Let me ride on that pony with you, bro, because I'm glad she brought this up, and salute to Erica for saying that. There's three things here that we need to highlight that she said. First, can somebody tell me what about these communities and organizations are demonic? It seems like a lot of y'all are saying demonic, but what you are saying is your community doesn't seem like it is faith based or faith filled or Holy Ghost filled. And that's two different things. And unfortunately, what a lot of people or a lot of believers like to do is look at life through a vacuum and not life through the lens of Christ. And that
Mm,
usually is the problem. So there's nothing demonic there. One. Two, there aren't any covenants that need to be made. I'm going to say that again as a preacher in the Lord's church,
come on, say.
credentialed,
Mhm.
licensed, and ordained, and degreed. There aren't any covenants that you have to make. Now, there are some conversations that you, as a person that wants to be a part of the organization, that you're going to continue to do because our organization is an organization that you will be a part of for the rest of your life, even if you don't pay no dues.
Mhm.
You're always a part of that, unless you make a conversation or a decision about denouncing or renouncing. That's when that gets in there. And then the last thing, because again, this is a loaded one, idol worship. You know, man, I hear idol worship all the time, but nobody ever shows us what the idols are. I'm so confused. If somebody could show me what idol people are worshiping that's a part of these organizations, I would love to find out, right? What's the idol? Are you talking about the idol of time, meaning a person gets priority because they're a part of the divine nine? That gets
Mhm.
priority. That has more to do with the person's internal decision making skills
Mhm.
than it does with the organization decision making skills.
Right.
So the person needs to know how to prioritize
Mhm.
Alpha and Christ. And most of us who are believers, and some of us who are not, have a belief system that supersedes the organization itself.
Mhm.
And so that's another thing, that there's not an idol that we worship. Now, here's what y'all are really upset about. And
Uh-oh.
I ain't saying Erica, I'm just speaking in general.
I got you.
What a lot of y'all are upset about is the way that we do community. That is what you are angry with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how you exclude us. Listen, listen, Erica, let me take this down. I don't want people thinking that you ain't riding with us because you are. Listen, nobody is excluding you from anything.
My.
If you would like to be a part of any Greek lettered organization, go to the website. Make sure you have, if you're going to do grad, that you have a degree that says conferred, not honorary.
Mm.
I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. I'm gonna let that sit right there. It needs to say conferred at the top of that page and not honorary. Okay, and number one. Number two, if you're an undergrad, bro, you need to have a certain GPA.
At least a 2.5 in 12 hours when you
It
talk.
depends on what, yeah, 2.5. Some organizations say 3.0. It
Yeah.
just really varies. So,
Yeah.
what y'all are telling me, a lot of the shade is we don't like the way you do community. We don't like the GPA restrictions. We dislike the fact that y'all have a community that excludes people when really it's not. There is a process that you have to go through. And
Mm-hmm.
let me say this, Rob, and give you the microphone. Y'all don't say nothing about the church's process when it becomes to being a member. The church has a process to become a member. Okay, let me give it to you, just in case you didn't know. Usually, your church wants you to be baptized. And if you're not baptized, they're going to take you through a process of what's called assimilation
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that you understand what you are getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have accomplished that, then you are prepared and ready for what's called membership.
Mm-hmm.
That means you're ready to come into the community because you've made a decision about said community. And then once and you can find this in the book of Acts chapter 17, just in case you didn't know that. It's biblical. And then once you find out what membership is, and scripture has you have engaged the scriptures, then you
Mm-hmm.
can set yourself up to go out and serve. Now here's my question. What's the difference between that and who we are? Brother
Man,
Rob.
big bro, listen, you gonna get us canceled.
I, you can't listen. You can't cancel somebody that pay for their platform. I pay for this.
Woo!
Good luck. Say what you want to say, bro. Good luck. I pay for
I'm
this.
just I mean, you draw a lot of comparisons
Of course.
between our Greek organizations
Of
and the
course.
church.
Yes.
And how this whole even conversation even started with us is because I saw a post today,
Yep.
and I don't normally engage in posts like this
Yep.
because I don't like to waste my time talking to people who have already determined that they do not want to hear what I got to say,
Correct.
even though I have the information that they believe that they have.
Yep.
So I saw a post today that said some people are more proud of Greek heritage
Yeah, man. It's
than
crazy.
their own heritage. And I really had to be like, okay, no, I'm gonna scroll past this. I don't wanna respond to this. But I went down that rabbit hole and I'm disappointed in myself, DK,
You
because I
should be.
typically don't do that. And then I found myself going back and forth with people again who are ignorant. And that's not a bad thing. You just don't know. And then they started talking about being a Christian and the church and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, people don't understand like the true essence of why we were created. You keep talking about this thing about community.
Yeah, man.
And one of the questions that I got underneath this post and another post was, well, I'm trying to see what y'all are really doing for the community. I got a question for the church. What are y'all really doing for the community? And watch this. And I'm a part of the church.
Come
I'm
on.
like you. Grew up in the church. Watch this. Father is a pastor, been a pastor for over 30 years. My father is also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He's one of the biggest reasons why I joined my organization.
Yep.
And I saw nothing demonic about my daddy.
Nothing.
Let me tell you what I did see my daddy do. Because he was bivocational, I saw my daddy get up and go work in the school district for 30 plus years.
Yes, sir.
7:30 to 5 o'clock, then he gets off work and then he goes to church and serves.
Yes, sir.
When members get sick or members need prayer and they need my daddy to show up, he shows up and he
Mm-hmm.
serves.
Yeah.
So, me or us being proud of our organizations doesn't diminish our pride and our passion for
Yeah.
our heritage,
Yeah.
because our organizations were created because there was a need. If we could just talk about Alpha Phi Alpha,
Please.
in early inception being on campus at Cornell University in the early 1900s. For those of you all who are not members of Greek life, I don't know if you are historians, but do you know what was going on in the early 1900s? We
Yeah.
ain't even talking about the civil rights movement. We ain't even talking about Jim Crow. We're talking about African American students going to a predominantly white institution where there is no space for them to congregate. And the white
Mm.
people wasn't letting them join their fraternities and sororities on campus. So, you know what our members decided to do? They decided, you know what? We need a space where we can all come together and encourage one another, because mom and daddy sent us to school to go to school, and then we need to go back to our communities to empower our communities. So, since there is no place for us to see community on this campus,
Yep.
we need to form community amongst ourselves. I need to make sure that you're getting the tutoring that you need.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that we fill the gaps that you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
So we were started because there was a need for community. There was a need to uplift the other black people that's on campus. You know that feeling you have when you go somewhere you ain't never been before, and the first thing you do, well, the first thing I do is I'm trying to see how many people in here look like me. Okay, then I give you that ceremonial what's up or how you doing,
That's
to
right.
let you know that I see you, you see me, and we in this thing together, right?
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct. Correct.
me having pride in Alpha Phi Alpha doesn't diminish the pride that I have for my own culture and my own heritage, because my organization was started because we needed community for people that looked like me.
Okay. So you said something, and I want to give it words. Here's what you said, especially with the movements like the Niagara movement that was keeping black folks out from said spaces, or at the same time, said spaces, black people were wanting to be a part of something and were denied being part, not even recognized, right? And so I think about that. I also think about the fact that somebody's going to say, "Well, how can two walk except they agree?" I think about that too. But this, it would not be this if there wasn't an agenda of anti-blackness.
Uh-oh.
Let's cut across the field, because some of y'all are pastors, and I'm
My,
qualified to say this. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Some of y'all pastors look like us, but they're
uh-oh.
very anti-man and anti-black, and it comes off and in their theological output in their preaching.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us still follow, cater, think about, repeat, regurgitate these very same problematic things.
Mm-hmm.
When in all essence, what you are saying is that you are valuing what is considered your Christian belief,
Mm-hmm.
when really you are valuing somebody that's both anti-black. And I'm gonna even push it further. Not only are some of them anti-black, but I would dare to say that some of them are cult leaders that you are following.
I'm
Let's speak real clear, because
I'm
most of them haven't even been to a school to properly exegete anything as it relates to both Bible and or culture. And
oh my God.
yet, here you are saying what people should be doing. No,
My,
you have been spewing, spitting a rhetoric that is problematic. And you don't think people see that. No, no. We see it. And now we're
Mm.
gonna start calling you out for being both a black person that's anti-black. Because black, if you're black, you can't be racist, but you can be anti-black.
Man.
Oh, hold on, I gotta put my past prayers said this. How many of these folks cloud chasing that transfer their affiliation? Shout out to Jay Corzine. That's my
Oh
guy, man.
no, but for real,
Yeah,
no, serious. I was having this conversation with my wife the other day
yeah.
about how struggle attracts attention.
Hmm.
And I feel like some of these people who take to the internet to denounce are looking for attention.
Hmm.
And I, DK, and we haven't gotten there, but I got some stuff that I need to say to our D9 brothers and sisters, but I'm gonna hold off on that for right now because we have a responsibility in all of this as well. Because when I see people denouncing, my first question is, who made you?
why do
That's
you
why.
why do you sound like you see that dude Jay Corzine in the chat? That is a question that he's gonna have for every person. Hey, who is your sponsor?
Dog,
Who's the
listen,
person that brought you through this?
because for people, man, I don't understand how you join
Yeah.
and then now all of a sudden you got an issue with everything and it doesn't align with your spiritual walk. Again, I have nothing against people who denounce for their own personal convictions, but you
Absolutely.
got to be careful when you start talking about, well, it don't line up with scripture, it don't do this. Y'all sounded like the people that were saying we're gonna go to hell because we got tattoos. I'm just, I'm just. You heard somebody say something, and you didn't do like the continued education
Come on.
that you needed
Come
to
on.
go get.
Come on. So without continued education, there's going to be a reference of ignorance. And so we're watching people get on concerts in between their sermons, mock steps, try to be what they have not been qualified to be, nor have they desired to be, or they desired to be and could not make it through whatever it may have been. And so you have all of this shade or hate towards something that you're not qualified. It's it's funny. We are always looking for the buzzwords to go viral. Okay, and so it used to be some of these same people would try to use LGBTQIA to go viral. We're talking about attention, right? We're talking about clout chasing. We're talking about the cappers, LGBTQIA to go viral. Then they couldn't kind of use that because they took back that space. So you can't use that as much anymore. And if you want to get rid of LGBTQIA people, please refer to some of the musicians on the backside and singers, and then you can get rid of them, and nobody will be at your church to sing usually. I'll
Oh
wait.
no!
Because y'all not
Oh,
gonna do that.
oh, you can't do that, bro.
Y'all not
Oh,
gonna do that. Now,
oh, we can't.
if we
We can't.
gonna do this, let's do this. All right. Okay. So that's let's do it that way. That way we all understand what's happening. Then they move from LGBTQIA, and so now it's become this direct thing that we want to even send people to co-opt the space, and then people will stay not only 10 days and say, "Oh, this is just not what I signed up for." Let me tell y'all something. This is public knowledge. Please go look it up anytime you would like. Usually, when an organization, because an organization makes this public, wants people to be a part of it, they will post that information. I've seen it happen in every organization. And at school, it's called Rush. They'll post this information. They go, Vince. Hold on, Vince. I'm going to get to you. They'll post this information. And when they post this information, then you can determine if you want to go to said organizational place and be a
Mhm.
part. And there, you can make a decision whether you want to continue or stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, y'all don't be talking about that. I'm going to give you the guy. That's where you go to continue or stop. But most of y'all will say, well, let me just see. It don't seem that bad. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just go through it. And
And
and then get on the others. Go ahead, bro.
no, 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 no. And this is where I want to pause and put a pin to talk to our divine nine brothers and sisters. Because again, when people join these organizations and I see people denouncing for whatever reason they want to denounce, especially when it talks about idol worship and demonic and all of that other stuff, my question is, who made you? Who was the director of education during your process? Because, and I'm just going to keep it all the way real, we have people that are in our organizations who don't know what the hell they talking about because they wasn't made right. And I'm not even talking about a process, a physical process. I'm just talking about they don't have the information that they need because they were just satisfied with just getting in the organization, but they didn't want to spend no time getting more information. We said when we were joining, and shout out to my LB, my tail club, the Jewel Club on
The
this
Jew. Pay
Vincent Jackson
attention.
being on here. We were taught when we joined that alpha was an ongoing experience. That just because you cross the burning sands, that's not where you stop. Like you don't get all of the information that you need to get while you're online. That's why we say you're a member for life. Not just because you're a member membership wise, but there is some more information and knowledge that you have to go get. There is
Yeah.
some more digging that you have to go do so you can better understand why your organization was created and was formed. But we have not done a good job of passing on the right information to people. Watch this. I'm going to keep this going because there are some people in our organizations, and I think one of the brothers posted this. They said our organizations are not demonic, but I can't say we ain't got no demonic people in them, right? We, I mean,
X.
so what I'm saying is I don't discredit somebody saying, well, I didn't have a good experience in Alpha Phi Alpha because this, and this happened. I would be like, I'm sorry that that was your experience. And if you feel like you don't want to be a part of this organization anymore, or you want to remove yourself from the process in week two, then you can do that.
You can do
But
that.
what I want people to know and understand is you have to be able to separate the individual from the organization
That is correct.
because, and this is what I told my wife today, Alpha Phi Alpha ain't never hazed nobody. Alpha Phi Alpha ain't never killed nobody. Alpha Phi Alpha hasn't harmed people. The individuals
Individuals. That's
in
right.
the organization have been the one to exhibit these types of behaviors that have caused all of us to look bad. So, and this is why I love our organization because we're doing a better job of vetting people before you get in. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Alpha Phi Alpha has a background check now. You just can't, if you got some criminal stuff on your
Can't
background
do it.
and it gets flagged, they're going to be like, no, you
No,
can't join
not to
this
do it.
organization. When you
It
join
X.
Alpha Phi Alpha, you got to have a sponsor and a recommender
recommender.
that have to pass tests in order to be able to sponsor somebody. Now, that's all I'm going to say regarding that. So we are doing a better job of trying to vet the people that we have in our organizations because I understand that there are individuals that have come through all of our organizations that have given us a bad name. Hell, I could even say at one point in time, I probably gave no, I did. I probably gave I probably gave the organization a bad name, but you learn and you grow and all of those things to help ensure that your organization is truly what it is.
So thank you so much for that, brother. I want to make sure we first of all thank our guests for coming. Hey, guests that are in there, all of my Divine Nine people, all the GDI, all of y'all that's in the chat. We appreciate y'all for listening and hearing us. So do us a huge favor. Put your information in the chat. Put the question in the chat that you may have, or share this with the community that needs to have this conversation. I also want to introduce one of my dear brothers, my videographer. Yes, sir, the person I call whenever I need something done on the video side of DK Hammond's ministry, it is my good brother Vincent Jackson. Vince, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I was actually just on a fraternity call, executive call, but I was like, man, I'm jumping on there as soon as I get off. But man, I'm excited about this conversation, just because everything that y'all have said. I think it's so many times, man, people. It's like it's no different than church hurt and all this. The church didn't hurt you, somebody at the church, and we get into a place where we forget these are human people in roles that represent an organization. That does not mean that is the representation of the organization. But man, this conversation is so needed. And back to I think something Webb said, and that's my LB, that's my dude. So if y'all know, we oil and water. But if you mess with either one of us, the other one coming swinging, and that's just what we are. Like that's my dog. We go at it. We've been going at each other for about 17, 18 years now, but we got each other back. But that's my dog. But man, he said something earlier in regards to this whole conversation. I was in this little group the other day, and people I posted, and then of course, man, everybody jumped in. They was shouting out their organization, their club, all of this. Then you had the 3, 4 people like y'all this, y'all that, and I'm like, well, how do you know?
Yeah,
Have you ever joined?
yeah,
Have you ever been? Because it's hard for me to talk about the inside of something I've never been a part of.
it is.
Like, how?
To your point, V, there's always, and people are entitled to critique. You're entitled to critique. That's totally up to you if you choose to critique. But if you choose to critique and you lack knowledge in your critique, then your critique and you have deemed yourself both ignorant. Now, to that same end, there are people that have come a part of our organizations and have left the organization with information, right? What they have deemed to be something problematic. So, V, bros, how do y'all feel about those who have come and now those who are all stepping up and saying, I think we need to denounce this for whatever, or here's my favorite, denouncing and then making social media platforms and then making that your niche market to kind of pull people out so you deem and so you fit. And so I've always been really like tripping about these types of individuals that have been a part of it and then all of a sudden they leave. And for me, at least the ones I've personally investigated, the reason why they left is because their pastors are cult leaders and they refuse to just say that. Brothers, what do y'all say?
So for me, man, I have a problem with it, man. One particular person comes to mind. They're around here locally. I'm in Little Rock, and they come to mind, and they really irritate my spirit for a lot of different reasons. Because here's the reality: many of us, well, I knew who I was before I pledged.
Yep, of course.
I was good with this guy before I pledged.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people do, they have no identity. So they come in and they attach themselves to the identity of Alpha, Delta, whatever the organization is. And then they get disappointed because they didn't get what they thought they should have got from this identity to the organization. And so then now you're finding they're trying to find reason to discredit the organization when really the fact is you really need to look at yourself, because even if it wasn't the fraternity or the sorority, whatever you're going to find yourself in that space is going to do the same thing to you because you're not grounded within yourself.
That's good. And Vince, while you were talking, I wrote this down. I wrote down some people's identity. They want their identities to be rooted in Christ. But some of their identities are rooted in their own personal carnality. Hence, their problem. It's not a Christ thing. It is what you're trying to be hyper spiritual,
Mm.
And even if something is done in excess, it still will give you cavities.
Mm.
You got to
Who
slow that down because what you're starting to be is you're starting to be the very thing that you said you wouldn't be.
dog?
And that is, here's what happens when the oppressed go unchecked, they become the oppressor. And that's what you are becoming when you call yourself trying to be Bible thumping, standing up, asking for attention, creating platforms off of your own misfortune. So, really, what you're wanting us to do is, if we're honest and we put language to it, because some language need to be put to stuff, you want us to trauma bond with you because you left. And ain't nobody got time to trauma bond with you because you left. You made a decision. I want to honor your choice of you leaving. Leave in peace. It don't even require a Facebook post or nothing. Return all your stuff you need to return and
Mm.
walk right out the door, and nobody will even know.
Bro, listen, you just said something that made me think about an incident that happened at one of my previous places of employment.
Yeah.
Um, when you talk about their own carnality, like
Mm-hmm.
their own personal like agenda.
Yeah.
I had There was a young man that denounced his organization shortly after a Twitter chain was created by some female students at the school saying that these individuals in these organizations were exhibiting predatory behavior, and some of them were sexually assaulting some of the people on campus.
Sure.
Again, I go back to us owning a part of this that we gotta own,
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as all of this stuff came out, I saw people cutting up their stuff, burning their stuff. Watch this, renouncing, announcing,
Mm-hmm.
or or re-announcing
Yep.
and are reaffirming their faith in God and their dedication to their Christian values.
Sure.
Okay, but where was this at when you were operating in your organization? Because again, I have to be honest. We've had people that have come into our organizations who have used the letters
Yes.
as and have been on a power trip
Yes.
to usurp that authority or whatever power they felt like those letters deemed them, and
Yes.
they abused them.
Mm-hmm.
They abused them on campus. They abused them in how they treated people
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. So again, like to your point about this carnality piece of it,
Yeah, man.
like why did you join?
Yeah.
And again, I think about some of the interest meetings that I went to and have sat in, even as a student affairs professional over my career. When I hear when other young men ask, well, what are the benefits of being in your organization? And I hear young men say, "Oh man, well we get the girls." Okay, but
What else?
what does that have to do? What they got to do with the price of tea in China? Like again, like Vince just said, I'm gonna tell you right now, Pie Spring '07, hey, we were them before being them was them. We didn't need the letters. We didn't need any of that. And you can ask anybody about Spring '07. We were the down to earth guys. You could kick it with us. We didn't care about our letters. Like you can come kick it with us. We're gonna make sure you have a good time. All of that, right? So we didn't need the letters to make us who we were. So when you want to come talk to us about, well, you're gonna be popular and the ladies, we don't care about none of that because we don't need your help to do that. Our
Yeah.
grades are already good.
Mm-hmm.
We're already known on campus. So again, it goes back to, and I used to tell students this all the time, before you come in here, you need to figure out who you are. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, to Vincent's point as well, like I knew who I was, but Alpha also gave me an opportunity to develop.
That's
It
correct.
also gave me an opportunity to sharpen my skills, to learn, to grow, to give me a bond of brothers who can walk beside me in this thing called life, i.e., my LB Vincent right here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, again, I just have to just talk about how we have a responsibility ourselves, and as much as people who go on social media and denounce kind of bothers me when I see stuff like that. Again, I go back to the question, who made you?
Yeah.
Because I'm concerned about who taught you whatever they taught you. Because if you thinking this, like this is so contrary to
Sure.
why we were even created.
Yeah.
Yeah. I struggle. I struggle with the concept of, like people that they have, like I said, the lack of identity. But I also struggle with this concept of people that have no sense of accountability. One of my things that I've always told my guys, any of the people that came behind me, is at the end of the day, especially when you come through undergrad, and I'm gonna jump into something that's probably gonna be a little controversial, but when you come through undergrad, my things I always told, like a lot of my guys, hey, you're a student first. You are a lot of guys play football at our chapter. Hey, those are the responsibilities first. You know what I'm saying? Like alpha, man, that's cool. But I play ball. So guess what was first? I'm gonna go to class. I'm going to football practice. Because this is how I'll get this degree.
Yeah.
So you don't have good problem is, like you said, you don't have good people that are leading these people. Then you get into a lot of this situation where you got the blind leading the blind. You got people that are just literally they just going into this so blindly, and nobody's keeping it real with them. But then on the other side of that, man, this like I'm active. Like then you got people. This is my biggest pet peeve, bro. I'm active. I hold a executive office in my chapter. Uh, People denouncing that ain't been active in 10 years. You ain't have to denounce.
Wow.
You already been out the house. Like you straight, fam. We ain't even missed you. What are you denouncing for? Like you ain't been active in 10 years. Like it's attention seeking. Like for real, like what are you here for? Like now you just want attention. You could have just faded off into the sunset because we don't remember you.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Cause where have you been,
Where you been?
twin?
Where you
Where
been,
have
twin?
you been?
Man, it's so much we can get to. If y'all got questions, make sure you put it in the chat. We can't see those questions. We'll put them on the screen. I wrote down as Vince was talking about some of this is rooted in a lack in the ability of discovery. You haven't discovered who God has created you to be. Hence, now you have a problem with identity of community. You have a problem with identity in church, which all of that is going to impact your self awareness and how you show up. So, and watch this, you have a Christological problem as well as a theological problem that you're trying to inform everybody else about. Listen, my brother, my sister, go do the work that your soul is calling for you to do.
Work out your own soul
Work out your
salvation.
own soul salvation. And guess what? Your salvation is not impacted by things like this, right? Because some of us, if we're honest, we have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. If we're honest. And guess what? Our salvation was still yet intact. I can almost assure you these same people we talking about believe that your salvation can be lost. And that's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong. So now we have these theological underpinnings that we're trying to push, enforce, and tell everybody about that has not even been properly researched. Right?
Yeah.
Now, so I have a that's my thing with it. Go ahead, Vince.
That's like the people like, oh, well, you got tattoos, all this. Okay, cool. I got them. You want to go to Leviticus? Let's go. All right, I want you to take off that wool blend you got
Come on
on
now.
over there.
That's silk press. That's silk.
Look, I want you to take all that. If we're gonna deal with this, let's deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
and we got people that's, man, you got this thing that you trying to pick out what you want to pick. You want to pick out what you pick to abuse or use people, and that's that cult like mentality.
It is.
Right. There was one particular lady. I guess she denounced or whatever, and I really got upset because not that she denounced, but you sitting there and you going hard about denouncing, but your whole husband is an alpha. He ain't denounced. So you're telling me that you're married to a man who, so how can two walk together unless they agree?
Unless they agree.
I mean, come on now.
So
Let's figure it
so
out.
so it goes to more Bible. Y'all make sure y'all put this Bible in the chat because somebody gonna come through here and say we bugging. Ecclesiastes 7:18 goes like this. This gonna wreck this whole conversation. It's dope too. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. I'm gonna say it again. Whoever fears God will avoid all extremes. So when I see this conversation, it is a reaction and an extreme that's not even rooted in Christ.
It
Not
preach
even
real good
rooted.
right there.
It's not rooted. It is rooted in your newfound belief system that you haven't even got a Bible school degree, a Sunday school certificate to understand what you just read. You haven't. And so my charge to individuals is do your homework, sit down with people that are a part of the organization and have a conversation, research on your own, and you'll get what you need to get. Now, I also want to bring this up before we get out of here. Now, we kind of, we jumped out on some of this stuff, and we needed to. It needs to get put to bed. But I love where Rob was going because we need to jump out on some of our own people. We just can't go. We can't beat up on this because there are some of our own people that you trifler. You trifler. If if we have understandings about the respect of womanhood to the best of our ability, and
Uh-oh.
yet we sleep or attempt to sleep with somebody else's wife, you are in direct violation.
Ooh, get hot in here.
You in direct violation. If you said that you were supposed to do something, you honor your word. That's Bible. We ain't got to go no further, no another further. So there are people within our organizations. I love what Rob said to that deserve and need to be checked because some of us are the direct problems to this,
Mm.
right? So, Law, what you say to that, bro?
So again, it goes back to what Vince was talking about with accountability.
Yeah,
But all of the problems and issues that you said that we have in our organizations, big bro, you know where else they are?
in every
They are also
organization,
in the church. They're,
in every
they're
organization.
everywhere. It's on your job. It's at church.
Yep.
It's in the civic organizations you're a part
Mm-hmm.
of. It's a
Mm-hmm.
part of Jack Hill. It's a
Yes.
part of all of this other stuff
Yes.
that we are a part of. But because and we act like that there are other organizations out there that are not exclusive, that you just can't go and join. Like fraternities and sororities aren't the only organizations that are exclusive because as I sit here and I'm reading one of the comments that this young lady posted to my response, she says, no disrespect, but most of all the D9 members I have seen are Christians. It doesn't matter what the origins come from if you don't practice none of them. It's like being an indoctrinated Christian, but when Black history comes, you throw on African garb.
That makes no
That's
sense.
my opinion. And what watch this. And what we need for our heritage is not what I see you all provide. Let me stop right there.
Yeah.
I will say that again, there are individuals in our organization who are not in alignment with the principles of the organization.
Absolutely.
But overall, I dare not let anybody talk about any of the D9 and our lack of community service. Because again, if you can't see what we are doing, and y'all quote me on this, if you can't see what the D9 is doing in the community, that means you ain't out in the community doing nothing. So watch this. They say, and what we need for our heritage is not what I see you all provide. So we don't need manly scholarship and love for all mankind for our heritage. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. They go on to say, why have an organization that the average man can't join unless you're a college graduate? Well, first of all, you don't have to just be a college graduate. You can be in college and join this organization. They go on to say it appears that most of the benefits you get from organizations like those are if you are a member. Duh, you can't walk up in Sam's Club without no Sam's Club card. Excuse me. You can't listen, some of them will let you walk in, but before you
Can't
check
check
out,
out.
baby, you got to scan that card, baby. Listen. So membership does have its privileges. Why have an
Membership got its
or,
benefits.
That's right.
I'm just saying, why have an organization that the average man can't join? Because Alpha Phi Alpha ain't looking for average men. If you
Great
look at
men.
our history, we come from a long line of men who went beyond average, and I dare
Come
not
on,
name
man.
them: W.E.B. Du Bois, Dr.
Yes.
King, Thurgood Marshall, Jesse Owens, and I can keep going on and on. The last
Vincent
six years,
Jackson.
hey, Robert Webb, D.K. Hammond. Watch this.
Name
Watch this.
myself.
She said, she
Listen.
goes on to say, our community needs a change of mindset, especially around who we worship, and then our
There we go.
circumstances will be a lot better. So my question is to this: our community needs a change of mindset, especially around who we worship, and then our circumstances will be a lot better. Who is charged with helping our community? Because I see a whole lot of people tearing down D9 organization and the stuff we're already doing. But again, if I needed money for my light bill, can I go to the church that I attend and ask for it?
Okay, so I'm glad you said that, brother. There's so much to unpack, so I want to come back behind you and kind of throw some alley oops to Vince. First, if you go to church, in normal churches, there is a process in order to have a check cut to you for your financial need. You have to
Yeah.
fill that out. You have to present your bills, your information, in order for the church to cut you a check. Now, you would say, that seems extreme. No church should have to do that. Well, what happens if that person keeps coming to church 5, 6, 10, 20 times and now they become on the payroll? You have to have some parameters in which extremism does not spoil the whole loaf. If you wanted to join the country club in your local area, guess what? It don't matter if you black or white. They will not take your money if they don't feel like you have been deemed fit to fit their organization. Cool. If you wanted to join the 100 Black Men, guess what? That costs a certain money. That costs a certain amount of money. Boule, certain amount of money. Jack and Jill, certain amount of money. Urban League, certain amount of money. All of them have certain amounts of processing that you have to go through in order to be a part. So please get the hell out of my face when you say that you need to have this process. When in all fairness, what you are saying is, I don't like what you guys do and how you guys are elite and practice elitism, which keeps us out. Guess what? We can't help that we better. Get better like us, and we'll be better together. Vince, what you got to say, brother?
DK, you can't even join the Bloods or the Crips without doing something, man.
Come on,
Come
man. You
on
got to
now.
do something.
You gotta
What are
do
we talking
something.
about?
You can't even be a Blood or a Crip without.
Man, not
Come
a
on
vice
now.
lord, not a shorty folk,
Oh,
not a
look, none
shorter
of that.
garden king, not none of that.
Listen,
Uh,
but here's the reality though. Like people get in these spaces and they're like, oh well, it's a elitism and all of that. But we have to aspire to something.
Yeah.
Our alpha is for the better making of men. You know,
Yes, it is.
that's what we represent.
Yes, it is.
We're not here to be the average Joe.
Come on.
That's not what our organization is about. And in that case, there are a lot of different things that you can, excuse me, just join
Yes.
if you want to be a part.
Yeah.
But this has criteria. Why is it that it's a problem for there to be criteria when there are criteria everywhere?
Everywhere. To
I
get your
mean,
water cut on is a criteria.
criteria. But the problem is people have the issue when they don't meet it.
Woo,
When
Vince.
they don't meet it. That's it. Like you have an issue when you don't meet it.
That's all.
dog,
It's, it,
That's all.
it's simple.
That's
bruh.
simple, Doc. That's simple. It don't get no simpler than that. That's a
Listen, because a lot of the people that I see who have something to say about Greek life and it being demonic and all of this idol worship,
yeah.
some of these people are people who tried and got denied. Um, some of
That's
these are
petty.
people.
But
Some of
it's
these
But
tight,
it's
but it's
facts.
right.
It's facts.
some of these people try to be online and probably were online and it just got a little hot for them going across the sands and they decided to drop. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
Or they
don't
forged
be
documents.
mad. Uh,
Forged documents is crazy.
You'll be
oh,
surprised
this
what you
boy
see
said
as a
forged.
dean of intake.
So
Oh, bro, listen.
here's another thing, man. Because many of you, under the sound of my voice, um, you you're about to make a decision, and you feel like this
Mm,
decision is going to get you closer to Christ. Can I help you before you make that decision? You're going
uh-oh.
to get as closer to Christ as you are starting today. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
require for you to do any of that. Now, some people consider the Divine Nine or the organization you're a part of as a weight to lay aside every weight that so easily beset us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. That's how some people consider that. I don't consider it a weight, and here's why. Because when I am heavy, I have a brother next to me that can easily say to me, "Hey, bro, go sit down. You're doing a lot. Have a seat, rest for a season, and then come
Mm-hmm.
back." Okay? And so some of you are thinking you need to denounce when really you just need a break. Take
Man,
you a break. Take some time away, get your head on straight, get your life together, and then come back ready to serve and commit yourself. I know you've seen some stuff in the organization, in some meetings, in whatever. You've seen some things, right? Everybody's seen some things. But those things don't have a negative impact on my belief system.
mm,
I can think through my belief system and those things still be what they are. And we have
Exactly.
to be able to separate and have our brains on tight where we can see things in duality at the same time. And so,
Right.
as we wrap this up, brothers, give some of your final thoughts and we get up out of here.
let me go first and then I'm gonna shut up. So real quick, I want to go back to this. We really need to, maybe I'll do a presentation at one of these conferences that's coming up entitled "It's Not You, It's Me." Because again, it's not the organization. And watch this. And my LB can attest to this. We went to the University of Arkansas at Monticello. Shout out to the Boll Weevils. We were there in fall of '06. I had a 3.57 GPA at the end of fall '06 semester.
Yeah,
The spring of '07, I joined or began the process of joining Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. At the end of the spring semester, I went from a 3.57 to a 2.5.
yeah.
At the end of the fall '07 semester, I went from a 2.5 to a 1.9 GPA and I left school.
Talk about it, man.
DK, you know whose fault it was that I had a 1.9 GPA? It wasn't Alpha Phi Alpha. It wasn't the Pi Psi chapter. It was Robert Webb's fault because what I started doing was, and my LBs will tell you, but I was gone. I was partying. I was at every party. I was road tripping, and I wasn't going to class. So as a result of me not going to class because I prioritized partying and being in the frat, my GPA dropped. So I'm saying that to say the organization is not demonic. The organization only takes up as much time as you allow it to.
Come on.
And to go back to Vincent's statement, a lot of people had identity and have identity crisis when it comes to joining an organization, because many people are joining the organization trying to mask issues that they have, thinking that joining the organization will solve their problems,
Well,
but they
no,
don't understand the only thing they doing is putting on a shirt over the problems that they already have.
you talking
So
good.
until you go
My
and do that,
God.
and until you go do that deep work that you need to do individually, anything that you join, anything that you join is not going to be sustainable for you because you don't have a grip on you. So number one, you need to find yourself. The second thing you need to do is you need to go do your research. You need to research the organization. Let me stop right here and put a pin right here. People that are in D9 organizations, my D9 brothers and sisters, this is what I tell my students. I'm going to share this with you. Stop telling people when they walk up to you and ask you questions about your organization to go do their research. Because watch this. What happens when I go research your organization and come back to you and I don't see what I've researched reflected in your organization? Come here, alpha chapters that ain't doing the national programs that we supposed to be doing.
Oh
Okay,
my.
I'm gonna stop right there. Find yourself, do your research. And for the
Ooh,
GDIs who are on here, those people who are non-affiliated, again, I need you to know that we are not demonic. All of us are rooted in service.
yeah.
So whatever demonic attribute you see within an organization has nothing to do with the organization. It has everything to do with an individual in the organization.
Yes.
Again, it's people in the church that give the church a bad name. It's people in the church who have been in the church forever who run off good people from the church because of toxic traditions and this oppressive spirit. So
Yes.
again, when you want to talk about the divine nine being demonic, it's some of y'all churches that are very demonic and y'all
Absolutely.
cloaking the love of Jesus Christ. So
Absolutely.
My
again,
God. And the doors of the church is open.
we are not
You may come
demonic.
by letter.
I'm just, I'm just I'm just saying, y'all, because that bothers me, because it's like we only see the evilness in fraternities and sororities, but we don't call out the evilness that we see in the church. We don't call out the evilness that we see on our jobs. And watch this, you still go to church and you still go to your job. And here, and I'm done after this. Because I love to see people talk about you ain't supposed to take no oath. Okay, the next time they play the national anthem, sit your ass down and don't put your hand over your. The next time they say the Pledge of Allegiance, don't say it. Since y'all talk about these oaths and these obligations, I did not take an oath to a Greek god. My oath and my obligation, number one, is to my family.
Number two.
And then unto my God who gives me life, health, and strength.
Well, my task is very simple here. I'm just here to open the doors of the church on this evening. You may come by letter.
Ladder.
You may come by candidate of baptism.
Yes.
But no, man, this is my serious point, man. For my LB spoke to the people. I want to speak to the people in our organizations. When I pledged, man, I didn't know what Alpha would bring, and I shared this with somebody maybe just a few days ago. I pledged and really was not didn't really know, what it all was going to come from this, man. But I tell people, if in 17 years, if pledging only meant one thing to me, when I had to do one of the hardest things in my life, and that was in about 9 years ago, when my mother closed her eyes and I made it to the house where she was. My LB had jumped in the car. Shout out to my LB, Larry Livers. It's my link, my front. He jumped in the car, and when the funeral home got there and they said, "Hey, it's time for us to take her," I said, "Well, just give me a second." And I said, "Well, let me load her." And my LB looked at me and he said, "You won't do it by yourself."
Mm.
Uh, and so the hardest thing I ever had to do was lift my mother's lifeless body. Uh, and I said that to share this, man. All the people that join these organizations, man, Divine Nine, don't get into it just for the time being, man. It's a lifetime commitment. Stay active. I understand financial woes and all of these different things, but everything costs.
Yes.
So I have a hard time when I see brothers say they can't afford the dues when they got on Jordans, $200, cause, and you got a pair and a hat that match both. Everything you put on, you feel me? So man, stay active. Uh, I'm done talking to the other folks, but man, that's for my people, man. Get active, get back involved, because you are a part of the reason that people see those things, because they're like, oh, these people aren't connected. Once you figure out, man, you get back connected, you'll start to see the realities of what we're really all about. Because it's easy to get lost. Like my LB said, he said it was his fault. It probably was a little bit of mine too, because boy, we was at every party, boy, back in the day, and everything. We ain't gonna say all the other stuff we was involved in, but we was there. But man, get back active. Man, I gotta jump off. I just wanted to say that, man. I love y'all,
Love you too.
but 7:30 meeting is calling my name.
All right, bro. So as we jump out of here, if there are any final questions, there've been multiple comments in the chat, man. We definitely appreciate y'all rocking with us for this time. If it's been a blessing, put some hearts on the screen. If you got some final questions, give us those final questions, and we'll definitely try to address them more specifically versus trying to talk around or about. I like to be very granular and try to be practical to whatever a situation that a person may be in faced with. Because I'm sure there's a young person, older person that is like, their pastor is kind of beating down their backs because they're a part of this. I remember having a conversation with the leader, and the leader was, kind of looking at me crazy because they see me active in my organization. They're just like, well, you should be the same amount of active as you are in your church. I was like, I am. Like, do you want me to continue to do free stuff for you? Is that what it is? Because as long as I'm doing free stuff, these letters don't matter to you. But that's a different conversation. But I think internally there are conversations that we need to have as an organization. I tried to have these same conversations in Clubhouse some time ago and continue these conversations on these platforms to make sure that our people are aware. This is not an attack on anybody who may feel different. I'm going to spit the facts because I don't operate in the spirit of fear. God didn't give me that. He gave me power, love, and a sound mind. And so I want to speak truth to power. I want to speak against the anti-Black agendas that some preachers and pastors have created that are absolutely waging war against some of these organizations. They never wage war against NAACP. They never wage war against 100 Black Men, Urban League. They never wage war against any of them. They always wage war against the divine nine for whatever reason. And I feel like I know why that is, but we need to do better. Preachers, I can speak to that. Preachers, you need to do better by having an understanding about biblical literacy, because some of y'all don't read the Bible. You just don't. And that's
Wow.
unfortunate that you are a preacher called by God. You don't read the Bible. You are speaking from your experiences. You are not
Hmm.
speaking exegetically from the scriptures, and you are in error for that. And you need to stop that nonsense. Okay, so preachers, y'all need to stop that. Y'all need to stop beating folks back in, kicking their backs in when it comes to that. If they are wrestling, if somebody is wrestling with this, hey man, I feel like I need to do this because God is calling me to do it. Let me tell you, do it. Because God told you to do it. Not because the organization, as Rob said, is me, not you. Not because of any of that. I'm doing it because this is out of obedience to my God.
Hmm.
Lead the organization out. Hey man, God told me to do it. I'm just simply following his instructions.
Right.
Now,
Right.
hold on, Rob. If God told you to do it, then he gave you a strategy on how to do it.
Hmm.
And usually that strategy has nothing to do with no other organization. Here's what I know about God. God would rather you just go out with your dignity and respect than for you to cause a scene blaming it on him. His word good, your word ain't.
Man.
His word solid, your word ain't. You trying to get your word solid. His
Man.
word is solid and true. So if that's God that told you, I want to honor you, I want to
Hmm.
love on you, I want to help you along your journey. That don't
Hmm.
mean I'm gonna do it. I do want to help you, and I want to help you find a better church home. Because some of these trash churches that you clowns are attending that look good with all the lights and all that kind of stuff. And it's not hate. This is what I see because I'm a part of this community. I can critique it. What I see, these cats don't be on that Bible book, man. And y'all
Mm,
need to start holding them to power, holding them to truth, holding them to it. They don't be
mm,
on that. And it's really maddening that we can go to church and be entertained to 10 levels. But
mm,
when it comes to the scripture, we have to be dumbed down to level one.
mm, mm.
No
Man,
maturity in the game. So that's what I say,
man,
man, brother.
listen, and I just want to say this. Me and DK and Vince, we are not questioning the validity of someone's experience.
No.
Meaning, if you're deciding to denounce or if you're deciding not to join because of something that happened to you or an experience that you had, we are not diminishing that at all.
Mhm.
Our issue and our problem is there are a lot of people who have an opinion of fraternities and sororities who lack knowledge.
Yes.
Because most of the time, when I encounter people who are not Greek and they see that I have on uh, letters, some of the first things they say, I hate this right here, DK. They be like, man, you know, I was going to join, but I didn't want to get my ass whooped.
Why?
What is that? Where did that even
Why?
come from? And who told you that I got my ass whooped? Like, I'm trying to, oh, well, I saw School Days and I saw Stump the Yard. Okay, you saw those movies, but a lot of people are basing their perception of Greek life based on a story somebody else told them in the movie that they saw. And they don't have a real relevant
Yes.
experience with someone in the Divine Nine. Watch this and I'm done. Let me tell you the beauty of our organization. DK, you know the first job I ever got? The
Come on.
first job where I collected a check.
Come on.
A member of Kappa Alpha Psi, a Noop, gave it to me.
Talk.
And watch this. He saw me during the summertime when I came home from school and I had my jacket. Well, I ain't gonna say I had my jacket on. I don't know when I was home, but I just remember walking in foot action and having my jacket on. And he was like, "You pledged?" And you know, I'm fresh off, so I'm like, "Is he trying to charge me up?" I'm trying to see what. You know, I'm ready. I'm fresh off the sand. I'm talking about I got sand in my shoes, like. And after I got done chopping it up with him, I found out that he was a noob. He had pledged in the 90s. And then he turns around and he says, "Are you looking for a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a job." He said, "Fill this out right now." He handed me paper application. I filled it out, turned around and gave it back to him. And the next thing out of his mouth was, "When can you start?" This man gave me a job and didn't even know who I was, but just off the strength of seeing that I had some letters on, he assumed that I had been through a process. He assumed that I had made a journey across
Mhm.
the burning sands that brought me into, Alpha Phi Alpha. And although he was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, he had a similar experience. And again, these are part of like the benefits that we talk about. Yes, you ain't got to be in no, you don't have to be a part of the Divine Nine to find a job. No, you don't have to do that.
So
Um,
easy if you are.
but I mean, it is. And again, I think the thing for me is, again, I don't want to discredit or diminish someone
Yes.
else's experience. If they had a negative experience, I'm sorry that you had a negative experience. But that negative experience doesn't take away the fact that all of our organizations were founded with like service intent because of the time period in which we were formed. So again, um, I don't want anybody to, to have negative experiences with us, but the truth of the matter is they're going to have negative experiences. You're going to have negative experiences everywhere. But just because you have a negative experience in this space, it doesn't make the whole loaf of bread bad, right?
Correct.
So
Correct. Correct.
again, big bro, I appreciate you
Yeah.
indulging me because again, I called you because I was just bothered by, people
Mhm.
making statements that are ignorant and they don't have
Mhm.
knowledge at all about what's going on.
Of
So thank you for utilizing your platform to give us a space to
course.
come on and talk. And again, thank you to everybody that came on. I hope we said something. If you have, any questions, you can hit me or DK up, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. But I'll turn it over to you for the last
Yeah.
word, bro.
Yeah, man. So again, y'all make sure y'all follow Vince on all of his social media handles. Vince, what are your social media handles so they can follow you?
Oh, he's gone.
I'm not
But
Vince. I'm
hold
sorry, Law. What's your social media handles?
Well, you can follow me on Facebook, Robert Law Webb. I'm also on Instagram
Yeah,
at Mr. Bylaw. I'm also on TikTok at Mr. Bylaw. But yeah, that's how you can reach out to me.
absolutely. We'll be cutting this video up. Definitely I'm gonna get right to it early. My team gonna get to it. This is gonna be on social media, likely
Yeah.
on YouTube. You're definitely gonna see the reposting of this, and I hope it was helpful. And if it was helpful, please put some hearts on the screen. Let us know. We might need to bring it back to go more in depth, because I would like to just break down each part of these arguments, and I would like to bring up the clips that we're seeing and really get into those clips and say, okay, what are you trying to do here?
Hmm.
Because sensationalism sells. And let's be clear, Divine Nine got a hell of a clout out in these streets. And so if you mention us, they're going to be a certain audience that you're going to get their attention. And so
Hmm.
for us who are bothered, let me reinforce to you, some of this stuff, man, we don't even need to address. Gotta take care of them in the latter. We don't need to address. We can keep going. There are some things that we probably need to come together and have conversations about. Salute to R.A. Vernon for him having a conversation in depth on his social media platform. I think that's a very good one. You can go check it out on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook. You can see how he broke it down from a biblical standpoint. And so we have the Bible that is here, and we want to make sure that we brought that as well as our own personal experiences, because a belief without your experiences is just not really a belief, is it? It needs to have both. It needs to have both. Both have to be in conjoining with each other. So again, hope y'all love this. Respect, love, and we're gonna be up out of here. Peace.
Oh, six to the good bruh.
Oh, six to the good bros.